This is part 2 of What's Wrong with the Game today. And I'm here with Jason Grinovich, professional hockey player. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing well, Jacko. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. How's the weather?
Weather's hot today, buddy. Weather's hot today. We're sitting
Oh,
at
really?
about 20 degrees C.
Well, it's about like the same as here. I mean, we cooled down a little bit, which was nice. A little bit cloudy out there, which is good. We had a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go into part 2. I don't think we covered enough the last segment of what's wrong with the game today. I have a lot to say, and I don't know if you'd want to go first or.
Well, you kick it off, Jack, and I'll follow.
Okay. So last year, I see these highlights come on my feed, and this guy playing for Tortorella was like going really slow on a shift, wasn't trying, and just like that kind of attitude back in the day wasn't happening. This is something that these guys today have, this kind of attitude. It's a spit in the face to every hockey player that's trying to make it to the National Hockey League. And this guy has an opportunity, and he just kind of just not caring one bit, and putting the coach in his job in jeopardy. And yeah, so this has really bothered me when I saw that. I don't forget the guy's name. I don't think he was that important.
I'm pretty sure that was Patrick Laine. And,
no, not him. It was number 18. He was going really easy, and they traded him for Laine.
Oh, okay. That was
he was a guy that was just like
not Dubois.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, they traded him to Winnipeg. Yeah, he wasn't. Lots of these guys, once they hit the NHL and they get their payday, they basically they coast, they slack. It's like, I've made it, I'm done, I'm good. They don't care about. I thoroughly believe that most of the players in the NHL don't truly care about winning the Stanley Cup or what that actually means to be the best team in the NHL. I mean, they hope they get there one day, but they don't drive the right way and play the right way. Like, you look at the Avalanche with Landeskog and Makar and McKinnon and, those guys are driven to win. They want to win.
Yes.
So it's that's what it takes to win. And the teams that do that, they're holding their guys accountable. Like, there's no such thing as, being lazy. It's put in the work.
Do you think that they deep down inside want to end early in April so they can have a long summer to enjoy? Because they're getting paid anyways. They don't want to play extra games. What do you think about that?
Oh, I 100% agree with that, Jack. I think there's a lot of players that it's like, hey, I make my money for the 82 games of the year, and after that, you know what? I don't really care. My money, I'd rather have my summer, right?
Yeah.
And there's lots of them that way that are looking forward to summer in March. So
yeah. What would you do with a guy like this who played a lousy shift? What would you do with him? Would you trade him or?
He'd be gone, or I'd bury him in the minors.
You know what I would do with him? If I saw obvious shift like that where he's not trying, $100,000 fine right there, boom. And I would never trade him, and I would just drop him and just hold his contract till he's done. Like, I would never let him get back in the NHL because someone else working hard wants that spot, and this guy's taking that spot away. And it's a shame what I saw. And I've never seen that before, like at any level. Like, I mean, kids level probably, little kids don't try, but we're talking a professional who's getting paid millions of dollars.
But Jack, it's the accountability factor,
right?
And they don't have it. And true teams with true leaders like Jerome McGillna, right? I mean, if you pulled that with when Iggy was the captain, there was a closed door practice and there was fisticuffs, and you weren't going to beat Iggy. So, but he held his guys accountable, right? And I don't think the leadership in today's game really is that strong because of that.
And, the other thing bothers me is when they get body checked and it's a clean hit, they just want to fight. They get offended. This is what's going on. Hockey is checking. If you're going to play, you are going to get hit out there if you have your head down. And that's your problem. You better keep your head up and be prepared. This is the name of the game. And you see, they like a clean hit. It's not too physical. And they go and they want to fight. And they always jump in. I see that all the time now.
Yeah, you're right, and it's just because there are no heavyweights left in the league.
Yeah,
and these guys, and it's like, well, keep your head up, one for sure. I mean, the game's got to be played eyes up.
Yeah.
But I mean, if a guy, back in the day, there was nobody jumped in for a clean hit.
No.
If a clean hit was just suck it up, princess, keep your head up.
Yeah.
But you know what? That guy got his number and he ran him, an eye for an eye.
Yeah.
right? Where in today's day, they don't do that. They're just soft.
Yeah.
The game is just way too soft today.
Do you think like everybody says, "Oh, I don't know if some of these older guys can play in today's NHL"? I say, "Well, can today's guys play in the NHL back then?" That's what I want to know.
Yeah. and you know what? They couldn't, right?
No.
They definitely couldn't play because
No.
it was rough, tough hockey. Like
Yeah.
it was, you did something stupid on the ice, which happens all the time. Like a Nazem Kadri, he pulls shenanigans all the time. The knuckle dragger came over the boards and ended you.
Yeah.
And even those, I call them knuckle draggers, but even those guys, like they could play the game.
Yeah.
Like they weren't bad hockey players. They could play the game.
Are you talking about Wendell Clark?
Well, I mean, yeah, like a Wendell Clark, a Dave Semenko, a Wade Belak, all these guys, McIntyre. These guys aren't bad hockey players.
No.
That was their role on the team. That's what they did. And I mean, if those guys that we look at, that we call them, they weren't the greatest hockey players. You put them up against any other pro, and they're equally as good. You look at their numbers in juniors, and they were putting up numbers.
I mean, we played with those guys at Parkland. Some of those tough guys we played at Parkland, they were good. I mean, we were talking fourth line guys, but they can skate. It wasn't like they couldn't skate.
and today's, and if you're comparing, can those guys back in the day play in today's day? Well, you got to remember that the training and development and technology in equipment and skates and all of that was completely different. So absolutely, they would be training different. They'd be looking after their bodies differently. So of course they would play in the game. Talent is still talent.
Yeah.
But it's that heart, that toughness, that
it's
means
not there. It's not there.
It's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some guys in the NHL today that absolutely could have played back in the day. Yeah. For sure they could have. They play a tough style of game. They're not tripping on their lip when somebody hits them. They're playing the right way. So yeah, absolutely, there are guys transferable, but the old time guys, all of them could play in today's day. All of them.
Mark Messier would have been one that if you didn't put your head up, he'd elbow you across the head. Remember the Modano hit? Do you remember he took Modano out with an elbow and they carried him on a stretcher? If you guys are watching YouTube, go click on that. There's another big hit. Wendell Clark checking a St. Louis guy behind the net, coming at full speed. I don't know if you ever seen that one.
Yeah.
And those two were the biggest ones. I mean, the elbow, and no penalty on that. I mean, he hit him square in the jaw.
Was not. Yeah, there was. I mean, that was just the way it was. If your head was down, I mean, you were kind of fair game for everything.
Yeah.
And nowadays they teach kids to skate with their head down.
Yeah.
Like you never cut to the middle of the ice with your head down.
Yeah.
There was always a choo-choo train waiting to run you over.
We never cut through the middle from the dots and in. We never ever. If you cut through, and when I back checked, always cut through to see if anyone had their head down coming through, and I would just get them. But it didn't happen often. Everybody would go wide because they knew better.
Yeah.
And not too many guys had their head down. I think Lindros a few times, and he got clobbered.
That's what ended his career. Was he got clobbered too many times from cutting the middle with his head down.
And I've talked to a lot of NHL guys over the years, and I asked them, like, who's the toughest guy that you've had to play against? They said Mark Messier and Eric Lindros. And as big as Eric Lindros was, he got knocked out so many times and injuries, because that's how tough the hockey was back then. As big as he was, 6'4", 240, and he would have crushed Ovechkin, like that guy. But imagine like a Scott Stevens playing against Ovechkin or Crosby. I don't think Crosby would have made it. I honestly don't.
Well, I don't think any of. Well, Crosby plays with his head up. He doesn't. He doesn't really put himself in vulnerable situations. Neither does Ovi. Ovi's big enough that he could probably handle himself.
I think he would have gotten some concussions. I think that Ovi would have been not.
Well, everybody did back then, Jack.
Yeah.
Because it was such a fierce game that you had no choice.
Yeah, I remember a guy getting I don't know what happened, but he got a stick in the face and teeth knocked out, and he didn't even drop. He kept playing. You know? It was just crazy. And today the guy gets a little blood. He lays on the ice. It's like embarrassing.
It's a circus act.
Yeah. We'll talk. We're talking about circus. I mean, acting. Wrestling's fake, right? And if now I'm seeing the NHL kind of like the wrestling where. How do I say it? You remember in 1992, the wrestling kind of went downhill. It was not
Yeah.
popular. It was very dull. It's kind of like today's NHL. And then there was a breakthrough guy that came through like a badass named Stone Cold Steve Austin, just changed everything. And it became the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And it was the most watched era of wrestling ever.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
2002, 2003, from 1996. That was a huge era. It's called the Attitude Era. I feel that the NHL needs a badass SOB to come in and kind of
Yeah.
say, you know, F you, Bettman. I'm doing what I want to
Yeah.
do out here. I'm going to score. I'm going to kick everybody's ass. And I just want to see
Yeah.
some guy out there, a badass, come in. Doesn't have to be cheap shotting people, but just like change, like, okay, it's okay to get hit again. I think the NHL right now is at a dull point, just like the wrestling was in the 92. You know, it was very dull. Undertaker was like the big
Yeah.
star then. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watched that era or not.
Oh, I
It was-
did.
I
Yeah,
did.
was
I
big
just
into
keep
wrestling
flipping
back then.
channel.
Yeah.
But once Stone Cold came in, it was less. This is like wrestling, and it's an act, of course. But I
Yeah.
think NHL's missing that badass, and it could be, I don't know, next 5 years, 10 years from now. I don't know.
Well, you hope the game doesn't change too much more than what it has already, because it's it's not going to be, is there entertainment value there? Maybe, but I just think it's they've taken so much away from the game that
Yeah.
it's hurt the game. It's the intensity's gone. There's too many referees on the ice. There's too many video reviews. There's
Yeah.
like it's a circus act. Well, who cares? Like, I want to be mad at the referee for show the replay on the jumbotron how he made a mistake. I want that.
I want them to man
then the
up
fans
and
are all
say, hey, you know
over
what? I made a mistake. I'm sorry. They never man up, and for that they
No.
lose respect.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And there's too many of them on the ice, and they're clogging up the ice. And like, one man system, if he misses a call, he misses a call.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
The referees look like
It's gonna-
Lego figures to me out there. They're just like dummies. They're just like ordered what to do, and they don't really think
Yeah.
for themselves. They're like Lego figures. They got these black helmets on, and they just go skate around with these visors. And
Yeah.
I just laugh because it's like it's not like it used to be.
No, it's definitely not. And like I said, I love the human error in the game, and I
Yeah.
love that element. And if they miss a call, they miss a call.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like, having video review and all that kind of stuff, it slows the game down. And, personally, I don't care. I want to watch that. I want to have the announcers on TSN or wherever have something actually to talk about.
Yeah.
Because now
Instead
there's
of
nothing to
talking
talk
about Toronto all the time, that's all they talk about is Toronto, Toronto.
Yeah. Well, they suck. So they got so much talent there. They just don't have winning talent.
Yeah.
I every year. No, I'm not a Toronto fan by no means.
No.
My wife is, and so is her dad. But I just don't see it. I don't like
No.
it. I don't think they have a team to win.
No.
I don't think they have heart.
No.
In all honesty, I think that's what they're missing. They're missing a heart guy, and I think they were expecting that with Tavares. And don't get me wrong, I have the utmost respect for him and what he does. But I don't think he's that commanding leader
No.
that they were hoping he was going to be.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to see happen is with kids hockey, referees, I'd like to see refs come out every year to each team's practice and talk about the rules of what you can do and what you can't do. Because when a kid asks the referee, ref, what did I do wrong? He's like, keep your mouth shut. You go to your bench. They're very defensive. I like to see the hockey, USA hockey or Canadian hockey or whatever kind of hockey, where referee comes out to a practice and they get to do like a mock tripping or whatever. Say, hey, look, stick is here. We don't allow it. And then the kids understand. So they never will argue with the ref. They'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
They explained that to me in practice. They just don't do it. And then the kids go, what did I do, ref? I didn't do anything wrong. And he starts arguing. And then he gets a 10-minute and the ref gets angry at the coach. And the coach is like, what's going on, So if the refs come out and they personally get to know these kids, and they'd be like, you know what? We know hi, how are you? Kind of they know them. And then from there, they kind of get the reputation of the kids. And I think they need to do that. I think that's missing in hockey.
You know what it is, and I know some good referees that when the kids are at younger ages, they do explain to them in the box what they did wrong. and they'll pull it, like they'll on the way to the box they'll say,
Yeah.
hey, this is what you did, you know. But those are very senior, mature referees, you know, coach refereeing at a younger age, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But there's not enough of them that
No.
do that, and there's not enough people that wanna be referees because of the parents.
Yeah, the
The parents are
get
always
into it.
screaming at them from the stands, and let's be honest, those parents have never strapped skates on before.
That's true.
They don't have a clue what they're
No.
looking at.
Yeah.
And yet they have the right to scream at a referee for, you know, what they felt is an erred call when they don't even understand the rules. Like,
But the
I don't
rules
know,
keep
it's
changing, Jason. The rules are changing on a weekly basis. I mean,
Oh,
every
of
you know,
course it is.
I can't keep up with these rules, and
No, nobody can.
you got to be able to hold a guy a little bit. I'm not saying drag him like mud wrestling or anything. Just kind of hold him a little bit so he can not get to the puck, and then like not hold him physically, but kind of push him. You can't even do anything
Yeah.
now. You
You
cannot
can't pick a guy.
It,
You can't pick and roll.
pick is usually a strategy to score points. You got to be able to pick a guy and time it right, but obviously not knock
Yeah.
him down. I'm not saying knock him down. I'm just saying kind of like you do
Just
in
get in their
basketball.
way.
Yeah,
Slow 'em up.
exactly. That's what I'm
We
talking
used
about.
to do that all the time. I
Yes.
mean, you had set plays where you'd be coming up, a guy would step in, he'd roll off, and it was open, right?
Yeah.
It was creating a lane.
I would love to talk to the guy who created all these new rules and kind of debate them. I'd like to have a debate with somebody. Maybe both of us can go in. Whoever's out there listening, and if you guys want to debate us, we'll be happy to give you old school stuff, because I think you guys are going the wrong direction. Whoever's making these rules.
Well, Jack, I think they feel as though if they don't change something, then they're not doing their job. Like
That's
if it's not broke, don't fix it. So these guys sit in high-paying roles, in safety roles, and in all this in the National Hockey League that realistically don't need to exist. They're creating jobs for former players, which
because they don't
is
have
what
a job.
it is. Well, but I mean, it's one of those things. Like, is that role really necessary? Well, no. So there's millions and millions and millions of dollars a year spent on salaries for guys that are trying to justify being like, man, we got to change a rule this year. It's been 6 months since we changed the rule.
That's true.
Better change the rules so they know that we're doing something.
Do you remember playing handball at school, elementary, where the rules changed on each play? So there's no hardies, no softies, no rainbow. Everybody will relate to this. So the rules are changing like constantly. It's just the funniest thing. I see the hockey the same way. And, the guy who measures the goalie gear is funny, because that was like some guy he was a tough guy back in the day. He's measuring goalie gear in every dressing room, sneaking around, making sure the goalies have the right,
Yeah, he can barely read a tape measure, and he's in charge of that.
Yeah. You know what I would, one rule that I would try to, bend is put like a shield around my helmet on the outer parts where it sticks out a couple of inches. You know what I mean? It's not in the rule book.
Yeah. No, it's not.
No. Yeah, it's not in the rule book at all.
Well, it will be, because it got mentioned, so they're going to see it coming now, Jacko.
So you know how the masks are made, the fiberglass masks. They have a little. They can put a little towards the end where the back part is, all along. It's kind of looks like Indian feathers, but now I'm not talking that high, but just about 2.5 inches around. Like it comes out like a flap all the way around from top. I mean, that's what I would probably add to my helmet. They don't have it in the rule book, but they will add it.
Just so there's a little bit more space. Or they used to have the baggy arms with kind of the bat wings that have come down, so that you couldn't, it would lessen a chance of it going through the pit.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I know that one, but I think like there's a couple of things they can do, and they got rid of those things for the goalies, the push off things. But I have a way of changing that. If you change the blade angle, I think you can get away with a different push off. I think they can play around with it. But I would try to bend the rules as much as I can just to piss them off, because I think
oh yeah, for sure. It's crazy. Like, what about having a V blade? So there's actually two blades that come out off the goalie skate, making a V.
Yeah.
So whenever you're standing, you're still running on two edges, but then you've got those outside edges to push and dig with.
Yeah. But then what happens? They're gonna say, "Oh, you can't wear it anymore," and
Well,
then
of course they are,
and the
because it gives you
goalie
an
pads.
advantage.
You minimize in the goalie pads. I mean, you can do. They're doing all kinds. I told the guy
Oh
the
man,
other
you know
day.
what? You know what? Eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to have to wear player gear in net
Pretty much.
because they got to be that small. They got to be that small.
Or a diet plan. Remember you mentioned in the other video sumo. I'm willing
Yeah,
to would do that. I actually would go to Japan or somewhere, scout a guy, just put him on his knees, just sit there on his knees. He didn't have
yeah.
to skate, and just sit there and block pucks, and close the net.
Well, that's all you'd have to do. I mean, would there still be some gaps in there for sure? But in today's day and age, they're not good enough to shoot and hit those holes.
No.
There's the odd guy that's got that accurate of a shot, but not many of them.
You do. Remember the $200 bet your coach made? You couldn't hit the top of the corner of the goalie's glove, and you did under
Yeah,
pressure.
that's right.
Yeah, that's. I mean, this is what I see. This is just like the attitude's not there. It's good, and a lot of complaining, and guys are too buddy off ice with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not like it used to be. Like these guys are all buddies. Like they hang out more with the opponents than they do with their own teammates. It's just a lot's
Yep.
changed. It's disgusting. Too much is going on with the politics of the world, and it's coming to the hockey. And I just,
for sure.
what bothered me, and I will talk about it because this is my channel. I'll talk whatever I want to talk. The kneeling on the knee, that really pissed me off when they kneeled to the American flag. And I'm from Sweden, but I live in the United States, and that's just a disrespect. When it was a Minnesota Wild team coming into the Oilers in Chicago game, and they rolled out the carpet for this guy, and he was talking, and then he kneeled, and he's a Canadian, and I know you're Canadian, but what bothered me is he kneels for the American flag, but not for the Canadian flag, and he's Canadian,
Yeah, and
but he's
that's just wrong. That's just wrong to kneel
Yeah.
in front of any flag. I mean,
Right.
that's trying to erase history. And the reason we're free and we're able to play these games and these sports and have the financial freedoms that we do is because of the people that fought and continue to fight
Yeah.
to keep us free.
You know what I would do
That's
with
the
him is I'd pay
reality
him.
of it.
Yeah, you're right, and then make him earn Canadian dollars. Why is he earning U.S. dollars if he wants to kneel for the flag? Take it in
Yeah.
Canadian dollars. Let's see if you like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Take your 30% hit on your money.
Yeah, it was very upsetting to me, and this would have never happened back in the day. And
No.
I know a lot of people hate that Tortorella guy, but I just think I kind of agree with him. Like that, there's not a lot of stuff that is not,
Well, yeah, and to me, it's I don't know whether they're looking for sponsorships or whatever they're trying to gain out of doing that stuff, but it's disrespectful to the flag.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful to the country, and most importantly, it's disrespectful to all the military, current and previous.
Yeah, I was just I was upset when I saw that in the NHL, and that kind of bothered me. Just hopefully things change because it's not looking too good. I know there's some great talent out there, but it's just something missing. That it's like the attitude is it's awful. I don't like what I
Yeah.
see, not at all.
Raise kids to play a hard-nosed game.
Yeah, I mean this is a game of war. We call it war. When we get into playoffs, we're ready for war. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you're bleeding to play. It's just not there
Yeah.
anymore. Nowadays, it's got, I got a little bit of boo-boo, or like you said, boo-boo and pain or whatever. I got to sit it out. You
Yeah.
can't sit it out. You're getting paid to play. You got to play,
No, wasn't it not Johnny Bauer? Who was the one that scored the Stanley Cup winning goal with a broken foot?
Bobby Bond from the,
Bobby Bond.
you're talking 67 Leafs?
Yeah.
It was a
yeah.
broken leg.
Yeah, played with a broken leg to win the Stanley Cup.
That's right. Would never see that today.
No, never.
You know-
Never.
The last European that I saw that was tough, I mean modern, probably Forsberg, and the other one
yeah.
would be Borje Salming. Borje Salming had a broken bone almost in most of his parts of the body. He had a skate across his face where he had 300
Yeah.
stitches, and he came back the next game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They were tough. Forsberg was tough too.
Yeah.
He was a tough guy to play against. Like he was mean, he was gritty, and he was talented. Like he was
Yeah.
good. That's the kind of player I want to see in the NHL again. A player just like that.
Yeah.
That style of player.
I mean, they say Tom Wilson's tough. I think Tom Wilson would have got his ass beat on a nightly basis back in the day. I think he would have just been a mediocre scrapper, not a tough guy. But in today's hockey, he's tough. He's tough.
Well, but if there's nobody to go against, you're the toughest one.
Well, I mean, Provo
Right?
would have eaten him alive. Domi, any of those. Dave the Hammer
for
Schultz, Chili.
Oh yeah, Semenko Chili was that was a
Chili,
tough man.
Chili was the toughest guy.
Yeah, Brant Myers. I mean, there was a lot of tough cookies.
Brant Myers and Sheldon Surrey is pretty tough, and they were afraid of Chili. Those guys were scared to death of Chili, and he was on our team. Chili had about.
He was a.
Yeah, go ahead.
He was crazy though. Like that's why you were scared of him because he was crazy. Like,
but he was also pretty
wasn't
talented. He was not a junk player.
Oh, no.
He could skate.
No. Yeah, he could play all right. He was just when the screws came loose, they fell out. Yeah.
That he had a trophy of every time he won a fight, he ripped a jersey off. He had about 7-8 jerseys in his stall. I said, Chili,
oh, really?
Why you collect these jerseys from? He's like, it's like my trophy. A hunter has a head, of a moose or a deer. It's like, these are my trophies. These are the guys I, beat. And he would punch two-handed. Boom, 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 two-handed. Like, third, fourth year, nobody wants to fight with the guy anymore. They just leave him alone.
Yeah, I knew another guy like that. He was a Gold Gloves boxer, and he never hung on. It was a two-fist fight.
Yeah. Chili was one of those. But it's not saying that it should be a goon sport. What I'm saying, we experienced that era where it was the toughest era. It just, I would like to see it come back to where it's a tough man's game, but not cheap shot, but just a tough man's game. It's not there anymore.
No, it's not.
No. It's one thing that's bothering me, and I see that changing a lot. Maybe it's just too many Europeans, like Don Cherry would say. I mean, Don Cherry, I don't agree with everything, but that's one thing. He has a point. Like, it's gotten soft, and he couldn't talk whatever he wanted. They kicked him off. And a lot of people like him. A lot of people hate him. But,
Yeah, but that's what made him great. You don't have to agree with everything everybody says. No. I mean, he laid his strong opinion out, and I don't think he was wrong with a lot of it.
No, he was right on most. He doesn't like Europeans, I understand, because they don't come here to play with heart. They don't care about the Stanley Cup, and it's true. And I think maybe that's trickling down to the Canadian boys and the American boys that, it's not important to rather have a vacation.
Well, it's culture, right? It creates a culture in the dressing room, and we talked about that with leadership. And if I was building a team, I would make sure I had a heavyweight.
Absolutely, maybe 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, I would make sure, because today's day and age, that they can still play.
Yeah.
And, your fourth line doesn't see a lot of minutes. So I would have somebody to look after whatever needed to be looked after.
Yeah. And intimidation's key. If you can intimidate your opponent in a clean way and play mind games, that's key to winning. I mean, the Broad Street Bullies did that.
Absolutely. And they were successful.
Oh, yeah. I remember, Bobby Clark. You remember him?
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw a highlight where he took a slap shot off the head, and he was bleeding, like blood was coming down, and he kept playing. Like, it didn't even faze him.
Yeah.
Like, I would not see that today.
No, he's a warrior is what he is.
Yeah. This guy's had no teeth, Nowadays, it's different. It's like, I believe that the more gear they're wearing, and the other thing is the visors bothering me, because the more protective they're putting, the more injuries there are.
Of course there is, because now people start getting more reckless with sticks. It's like playing against a kid in U18 who's got a bubble on, and then he goes and plays some men's league games. Somebody's getting a stick in the face because he's not used to it. Where in the day, you stuck somebody in the face. Well, it was if Wayne Gretzky would have stuck someone in the face, they would have dropped the gloves with him. Yeah. Because it was just an unwritten rule. You keep your stick down, right?
I think only one time I heard or saw Wayne stick a stick by accident. It was in the Toronto quarterfinal series, and it was in front of Kerry Fraser, and he just turned away. He didn't call it. It was against Doug Gilmour. And I think Gretzky's stick came up. That was the only time I ever seen Wayne actually lift a stick. But it was accidental, obviously. Wayne would never do that.
Yeah.
But
he's too classy of a guy.
Yeah. But I feel like the more protection there is now in the gear, and the more people getting hurt. Back in the day, it was less padding. Shoulder pads were thin. It was a lot more hitting, and there was
Yeah.
less injuries. I just don't get it why there's so many
But
concussions and injuries. It's a head down,
well, they should take all plastic off of your gear, like on your shoulder pads and elbow pads. There should be no plastic there.
I agree.
None.
Yeah.
Because that's what you hit a guy with plot. I mean, and then guys run around because back in the day, the shoulder pads we had, if you took a run at a guy and missed him along the wall, you hurt your shoulder.
Yeah, and the walls didn't give. Like today in the NHL, I see these boards give 3-4 inches. We never had that luxury.
For sure.
We had like a
No,
tempered
it was
glass.
concrete.
Yeah, tempered
Yeah.
glass, and the boards are permanent. Like they don't move. And if you get hit, I've had 2 separated shoulders playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was physical. That's part of the game. Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so many elbows thrown though, Jason. It was a lot of hard hitting. We threw about 60 body checks of average a game. I'm not talking
Yeah.
rub outs. Rub outs don't count. They gotta be a crunch. And we were
Yeah.
throwing about 60 body checks per team. It was an average. Nowadays you see maybe
Yeah, I would
10
say
or
that's
12.
accurate.
Yeah, 10 or 12
Maybe.
now.
Yeah, total in the whole game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, total in the whole game.
Yeah.
It's just very different. I mean, where would you start? Like, what would be the first thing you would do?
Get rid of Bettman.
That's what I was gonna say. You took the words out of my mouth. So okay,
Yeah.
so we'll say we brought in Messier. Now Messier
Yeah.
says, "Listen, boys, we're gonna go back and play old time hockey where it's not like Eddie Shore's time. We're not talking slap shot, but we're talking like, okay, if someone runs you and hits you clean, you got to know it's part of the game, and you can't just go want to whine and fight about it. It's part of the game. You
Yeah.
are going to get hit out there, as Messier would say.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to hide out there.
Yeah, that's right.
So, where would you go besides changing the commissioner? What would you do next?
Well, I mean, I would, the first thing I would do is I would pull video reviews out. Then
Okay.
I would change the equipment. I would put it back to, the equipment we played with was still super padded.
Oh, yeah.
It was just soft padding, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, so I would change that for sure. I would eliminate the visors. Not
Yeah.
that I'm saying if you want to wear one, you can wear one, but by all means. But I mean, nobody likes wearing them.
No.
So
Definitely, I think there's more injuries with visors on than without.
well, yeah, because the guys get cut.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, I like those. I like what you're saying because it looks like now I'm interested to watch the game again. The teams
Yeah.
had class. There was not much advertisement on the boards. It was like like original six, that feeling. When you go to like Dodger Stadium, you don't see ads all over the walls. I don't know if you've ever been to Dodger Stadium, but it's a historical place for baseball. And the grass
Yeah.
is green. And there's no like advertisements all over the place. Now you go to the NHL, it's like billboards everywhere. And it's like, it's the flavor of the game is gone. It's so commercialized, It's
Of
like
course.
all corporate, and you got to sit in corporate seats. You got to pay $1,000. You can't take a family anymore. It's not family friendly anymore. You can't take your kids to a game. It's every night. It's expensive. And-
Yeah, well, it's Disney. It's Disney on Ice right now, is what it is, and it's just not. It's not good.
No.
It's the most expensive Disney you'll ever go and see.
Yeah.
3 hours of pond hockey that there's no real entertainment in, and that's what you end up with. Like,
Yeah. Would you eliminate teams? I would take out, I'll tell you right now, I'd take out 8 teams and leave 24. You're going to have a better talent pool because the more teams is more watered down. Go 24 teams, and I think you're going to have a better hockey.
yeah, I think you would too, because there's the smaller the number of teams there are, the greater the talent from top to bottom.
Do you think there'd be
That's
more 50
inevitable.
goal scorers, right? Wouldn't be too spread out. I believe there'd be more 50 goal scorers with less teams.
Yeah, I think there would be. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean, you got more talent to play with.
Yeah. I just see it because back in the 80s, I know they say, oh, the goalies sucked and stuff, but, we had a square crease. We didn't have that rounded crease that the
Yeah.
goalies set perfect on. So obviously that's why there was more scoring. It wasn't that they said the goalies sucked. They didn't suck. I mean, the goalies had the same brain, same reaction as today with heavier gear. They didn't suck.
Yeah, with heavier gear and,
Yeah.
and the sticks that we were using are nowhere near the sticks that we use today. Like,
No.
the game has just changed in all kinds of different ways. And the you're right. That square crease would absolutely change the angles of the goaltender. It'd be tougher for them. It would be very tough for them to find their angles.
Would you
right?
go? What I like about the goaltenders back in the day, each one had a style. Garth Snow had the shingles. Everybody had something.
Yeah.
Today's like they can't do that anymore. You got goalies' gears getting smaller. I'd let the goalies use whatever they want. And you know
Yeah.
what? If we're good enough to shoot and score, I would never complain on the goalie because for me, hey, that's a challenge for me to try to aim there. I'd love that. I'd love a challenge.
But you know what? Here's another factor, Jack. Why
Yeah.
not just eliminate the crease all in general?
You know what? Not a bad idea. But then guys are going to crash the net. What would you do about like a Brett Hull disallowed goal or the Brett Hull goal? Remember that?
Well, they had that rule, and then they all of a sudden eliminated it for the one play when it was called 100 times in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
It's a tainted Stanley Cup. That's
Yeah.
all that is.
I bet you Bettman had something to do with that.
Oh, probably wanted the Stars to win the cup.
They probably called him, hey, Gary, we want to know, should we make that call a goal? Oh, they're going to call Toronto, right? And they're like, okay, let's call
Yeah.
New York. Bettman's in New York. Wake him up.
Yeah.
We want to know, can we change it to a goal? It's Brett Hull, we got to let him score. And then they allowed it. And that
Yeah.
was like controversial for sure. I mean, that was
Oh,
a steal.
100% controversy.
Yeah.
100%
I like Brett Hull,
controversy.
though. I like Brett Hull. I'm happy he won a cup. But what I'm saying is the rules changed, like it's changing all the time. It sucks. That's what I hated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you'd get rid of the crease completely. What would you put? No crease?
No crease. Why?
What about if a
I
guy...
mean,
Yeah.
if a guy crashes the net, we're going back to old school hockey. Somebody's going to jump him and beat the tar out of him.
But would you anchor the net solid like back in the day?
Yeah, well, I mean that creates more injury from that. So I mean, I don't mind the nets coming off and for protection of the players and player safety. I don't mind that whatsoever. I would just eliminate the crease, make it that much harder for goaltenders.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think so. Trying to think what else. The other one would be the instigator. I mean, I don't like the instigator rule because now you're trying to defend someone and you start something, you're going to take that extra 2 minutes, which I don't like.
No, I think it's just it eliminates the turtles on the ice. The guy's not getting anything for it.
Yeah.
You go down, guy swings 4 punches. It's like, well, sucks to be you. I guess he got 4 punches in.
Yeah.
Should've went.
Yeah. What I like to see happen is some badass coming into the league, some new guy, badass, or maybe someone that's already been in the league and is like, I'm sick of this crap. I'm going to be one of these guys who's going to tell what it is, like whatever I say goes type of attitude. I don't care what they think of me. I haven't seen that guy. They're kind of coward out there right now. So whoever's listening that's a hockey player.
Even in interviews, they're not allowed to speak out against anything.
No, but I would be that guy that would take the fine and be
and
like, you know what? And I'm that type of guy. I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'll say it right in front of their face. I really don't care.
Yeah.
I might not be staying in the league too long.
I think the players should have freedom of speech, and if they're mad at a referee or another player or whatever, call them out.
I would. I think they should allow that.
The
We
only
need a
way-
new commissioner for sure. I think Messier would be the great one to have. I could see
I
him
agree.
being a commissioner. Yeah. Well, it was great talking to you.
Jacko.
Yeah.
Yeah, same to you, Jacko.
You
have
got
a great
it.
day.
You too. Thank you so much.